in my phone.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
What's up? What's up? What's up? You know what that sound means, right? That means that Domantas Sabonis back in the lineup tonight. Sabaka, whatever you want to call him, you know, the guy, number 11, that just kind of cleans everything up, looks like a boxer by the end of most basketball games. Yeah, he's back earlier than expected. He wasn't even set to be reevaluated yet. Little bit surprised by that. No minutes restriction. So we'll talk about that, but you are going to be without some key Kings tonight. An illness running through that locker room. Malik Monk's still out. Devin Carter now affected by it. He is out as well. So let me put it this way. If Keon Ellis ain't on the floor at the end of this one, Doug Christie might not have a job. So the Celtics roll into Sacktown. The Kings 1-0 against them this year, making them the linear champions. I don't know. Imagine if the Kings go 2-0. The Celtics are 9-1 in their last 10 and won 5 in a row. So we get it started here on the other side. First of 3 shows for you tonight on If You Don't Like That. Welcome in to the pregame show.
Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now.
You do ride strong and proud, considering this team has lost 6 of their last 8. And arguably, I would tell you, well, Jerry and I talked about this. Jerry says they should be 3-1. I think this team should be 4-0 on this monster of a homestand that we thought was going to be Murderers Row. Well, tonight is the first night of a back-to-back. You got the world champs in town. They'll be missing a couple of guys, but Jaylen Brown is going to be available for them, which does change it a little bit for the Kings. It all comes down to, can you guard the three-point line? What's that going to look like? The Kings did a pretty effective job of running them off the three-point line in the first meeting in Boston, where the Kings held them under 100 points, 97 points. The Kings put up 114 in that one. You got a big effort from Devin Carter in that game, arguably his best game as an NBAer up until that point. That's been surpassed now on this home stand, but happy to have you here. We've got you covered all night long. Grant, Jerry at halftime, Grant and I after the game. Tale of the tape for these two teams tonight. Yes, Coach Edwards.
You play to win the game.
You play to win the game. The Kings are going to be doing that indeed. We're going to hear from Doug Christie here in just a few minutes. But as you see who's in, who is out, Sam Hauser is actually kind of a big piece off the bench for them. 3-point shooter. He is not going to be in for Boston. Other than that, Al Horford. Can you believe that guy's still in the league? What a amazing. He's one of those guys that did not, and I don't know, I shouldn't speculate. I would be probably safe to say, though, he hasn't put the money into his body like LeBron James has. Yet it feels like Horford's been in the NBA like since Jabbar and Russell, but yet he's still effective from beyond the 3-point line. The Celtics, 4.5-point favorites tonight in this one, and Sabonis returns. How do you feel about that? If I'm the Kings, I might have gone a little bit more cautious with Sabonis, but you got to tie that guy down to keep him off the court. So that's how the two teams match up. We're going to get into some numbers, see what the Kings need to do to win tonight. But first, as always, we take your calls. If you want to get in here, you can use the link that's in the chat. You can also scan the QR code that is on the screen. Let's bring my man Tay into the conversation.
Hey, good afternoon, Ryno. How you doing?
What's up, Tay?
I think about 2 weeks ago, I could comfortably say that the Kings are gonna be in the play-in. But looking at the standings today, Dallas is only 2 games from the losses away from the 9th seed, and Anthony K. Davis came back today. And looking at the way that the Kings are playing right now, I wouldn't actually be surprised if they fall out of the play-in. And again, I think that's something that we didn't project necessarily 2 weeks ago, because we expected Phoenix to fall off and Dallas, but Phoenix has been winning some games and Dallas has a comfortable lead over the Nets today. So depending on whether Kings win or lose today, I think the standings I don't think it's a lock that they're going to be in the play-in, and that's going to be a disaster for the whole team and the front office, I think, if they miss the play-in completely.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt that that would not be a good scenario. I think this year is already, I'm not going to say a disaster, but a mess. We came into the year expecting, or most fans with expectations of the very least, a 7-game series, probably winning a 7-game series. DeMar DeRozan said Western Conference Finals. But then on the flip side of the coin, you go through everything that you have this year and you still might make the play-in. I see both sides of it. But if you miss, I don't listen to, I'm not sure if you were with me for my 2:00 show. I don't listen to really any media here in Sacktown. I do listen to Dave and Jason when they have Sam Amick on, but other than that, I try to keep it, just to myself, so I'm not influenced by anybody else. And I've been seeing a ton of stuff online about Kings fans, and maybe it'd be better to miss the play-in because of
I see
basketball purgatory. So I don't know. I'll ask the chat. I'll ask you, where do you stand? Would you rather them miss the play-in, or do you want to see them have a chance to get to a playoff series?
I think as a hardcore Kings fan, I want to see more basketball, so I do want to see them make the 8th seed, regardless of how difficult that may be. So I'm on that boat. I do want to see more basketball. We're going to get blown up by Thunder anyhow, but I do still want to see, for the morale of the team, them at least making the playoffs. I think getting the 11th, I don't think getting the 11th pick by missing the play-in is going to really move the needle at that point of the draft.
Yeah, well, what I think it does secure is probably no Doug Christie, no Monty McNair next year.
True.
Grant's been on the record saying that, so that wouldn't surprise me. But that very well could be the case, even if this team makes the play-in. But we'll see, Tay. They've got, 14 or 15 left, and this is the hardest back-to-back of the season. Oklahoma City tomorrow night, Boston tonight. So maybe they outperform themselves and pick up another win. We'll see, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Ryno.
Yep. Appreciate you, Tay. Tay brings up a decent point. It is something that could possibly be in play for this team. By the way, huge shout out to my guy, Mike Bibby, taking the head coaching job at Sac State. How about that? Didn't see that coming. I know Mike had been coaching his son and doing all that, but that's great. Good for Mike. I had the pleasure of knowing Mike during his time here in Sacktown, working out with Mike, with Albie Akani, and working Mike's camps for him while he was in Sacramento. So congratulations, as Jerry would say, to the Bibinator. Taking over the Sac State Hornets definitely helps their profile here in Sacktown. And thank goodness, probably takes one ex-King off the coaching list here in Sacramento. I know a lot of people are kind of tired of that. So let's do our check-ins. Where's everybody up to? Where you watching from? MC, always appreciate you. We would appreciate the thumbs up as well. Thanks for putting that up and checking in. Flores doing some emojis. So here's the thing. I can't see your emojis. This is what I see. At Dennis, hand, pink, waving, good stuff. That's what I see. So go figure. Athena, love the intro. Appreciate it. We had to cut a piece of it out because of Foxy. So what's up, Dre? Checking in. Dennis in the house. Dre checking back in. And just hope that, or I hope you know, if you were to start your own show, you could make more money. You might be surprised by the amount of people who would follow you over. Thank you, Dre. I appreciate that. The compliment's great. I have a lot of growing still to do, and I am incredibly blessed to have been, I'll straight up say it, earned the opportunity to have a daily show on Grant's platform. But thank you for the kind words. And I'd love working with Grant, love working with Jerry. So right now I am exactly where I need to be. Don't hate. And there might be some other news coming up soon in the future. So stay tuned to that. Don't hate on Doug Christie. I'm not hating on Doug Christie. Now, Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray, they didn't seem too happy after last game. Athena, we're going to cover that here in a few minutes. Jaylen Brown available. There you go. We knew that. Let's see. Nathan checking in. Hey, Ryno, what do you think about Cain Velasquez just now being sentenced to 5 years? I don't think anything of it because it's not NBA related. Hit me up on the King's Court. We'll talk about it. Let's see. At this point, we might need to make the play-in. You might need him to make the play-in. You're right. But here's what I worry about. I worry that he's coming off of a hamstring. Look, can we be real about this really quick? When he was in Phoenix and Ryan Dunn threw him, his hamstring he grabbed at it again. And so I guess, guys, and I am as big of a Kings fan as anybody. Please do not take this the wrong way. But if you had to put a percentage on it, how much does the percentage increase that the Kings will beat the Celtics with Sabonis versus without Sabonis? I just feel like, especially on the first night of a back-to-back, I probably would have waited until Oklahoma City. Flores, too early for Sabonis. Playing him like that, he might be the new Joel Embiid. Yeah, he's got a long ways to go from being the new Joel Embiid. All right, we're going to keep doing our check-ins, but let's hear from Doug Christie earlier tonight. Had his press conference wrap up just about 45 minutes ago. Here's Coach Christie.
You're doing well. Last time you guys played the Celtics, it was, 6-7 games into your tenure as interim head coach. You guys are on that 5-game winning streak. Can you take anything from that game and apply it to tonight with somewhat of a new roster?
I mean, you can in your mind, but they're a different team. We're a different team. You have to look at the film that's in front of you and respond to what's there. Conceptually, probably some things, but for the most part, they're champs. They're really good. So you just put a whole bunch of respect on their name and you go play.
Doug, we see Domas is coming back tonight. What do you expect from him? Is there a minutes restriction? How are you going to work around that?
He's playing, so he's playing. We're going to get at it. Any of that stuff we'll see, but happy to have him back more than anything, like a comfy blanket. Yeah.
And then on top of that, you are missing Monk and St. Devin and Doug. Just how do you make up for that again?
That's like no pillow, so you roll the blanket up. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's just our league and what we go through. We've had many, iterations of this team. And
Yo.
No. You have lost your time to talk.
Yo. Don't come after my guy Mike's head. Don't do that. Mike's head's not that big. In fact, I would argue it's the opposite. Are you talking about the physical size of his cranium, or are you talking about his ego? Don't come after Mike like that, man. Mike's my boy. Love me some Mike. All right, back to Doug.
And tonight will be another one, and we will figure it out. The thing that we do is we go and we play hard and we compete at a really high level and put ourselves in position to win games, whether we do or not. Like, first things first, like that's who we are. And if we do that and we lose the games, are we happy? Hell no. But we have to establish who we are first and foremost, and we're continuing to solidify that identity.
Very true, Frog.
So a bit off topic outside this building, but your former teammate and friend Mike Bibby it was just announced that he's going to be the head coach at Sac State. I'm just curious, from one coach to another, your opinion
No comment
on that.
I don't think it's official, so I can't really comment.
Yeah.
But you guys know how I feel about Mike, so love him, support him. Like, once it's official, then I'll do that.
Hey, Doug, obviously, fans and media, they're
killing me, Rock.
Storylines and narratives around games. A game like this, when you guys went into Boston and, kind of handled the Celtics, do you guys think at all as coaches and players about maybe the Celtics having that in the back of their mind and having to be ready for maybe a little extra from them? Or is that kind of just a storyline?
I would say the only thing, like in our league, that you can use certain things as motivation, especially when you're champions. Sometimes you search for certain things, but the one thing that you do know is they will not look past you. And I think that's probably the biggest part of what you just said.
So going back to Domas, we've seen him fight through a thumb fracture. We've seen him fight through multiple injuries. We know how skilled he is, but can you speak on just the toughness and how special that is to have a player like that?
As somebody who did what he does and knows what it feels like to play injured against these type of players, it's a really, really commendable thing. It's hard enough to compete out there as it is, but to be hobbled in any way, or to be trying to just make it and do whatever you can for your team. Like, in my opinion, that is like the highest level of teammate. Like, I'm sacrificing myself, and I've seen him do that many, many times. So I love and appreciate him for that, for sure.
He's back much quicker than expected. Obviously, you guys are in a tight race right now.
We'll listen to a little bit more in a second. What's up, BG? Hope you are doing well. A lot of questions about the ISO ball. We're going to hit that in a few minutes. First, let's go back to the phones. We bring in our guy all the way from Serbia, Mr. Baki.
Yo, what's up?
You're not driving and talking to me right now.
This is how it looks like when I take you to the tour of Serbia. So I'm gonna land in a few minutes, so I'm gonna keep that gas going. So my question for you, Ryno, is can you hear me well?
I hear you well, but I'm worried about your safety, bro.
No, don't you worry at all. Everything under 100% control, so you can watch the beautiful highways and the scenery of Serbia. We are ready to land.
Is your microwave strapped in? Does it have a seatbelt on?
Everything is strapped in, so don't worry, bro.
Right.
So my question is, what do you think? Is Sabonis back because he's healthy and he's ready to play, or only because we are in the danger of losing that play-in position? So let's see what will happen. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, it could be right in the middle, to be honest with you. It very much could be in the middle. With Sabonis, though, That's the only grain of salt that I give it. He was out, a day, one game with the avulsion fracture. So I think he's built a little bit different. Look, bottom line is if he's not ready to go, they're not going to let him play. But sure. These teams are getting the Sacramento rub. Did you see what the Bulls did to the Lakers last night after beating the Kings? Now Phoenix running since beating the Kings. So, yeah, it's probably in the middle, Baki, but we'll have to wait to see how he looks tonight.
Okay. If he brings some 20 points, 25 maybe, I'll tip that we're gonna win the game. Okay.
Wow.
Maybe crazy to maybe crazy to go against the Celtics, but every game against them is like some speciality for they are giving 100% against Celtics. So let's hope they'll bring just about 80% from the last game, and that could be enough. I don't know what Malik is. Malik back or what?
Nope, Malik's out. Devin's out too.
He's out. Yeah.
So
okay, guys.
All right, brother. I'm gonna let you
Take
go.
care.
Thanks for the view. Drive safe, man.
See you later. Thank you.
All right. Not recommended that you call while driving. Be off camera if you're gonna do that at least. Remember, I got pulled over for the cell phone that I was putting on my charging thing. My goodness. Anyways, so interesting. We're gonna talk a little bit about this. What you're looking at right now are the Kings team statistics and their individual statistics. Over the last 8 games, the Kings have lost 6 of 8. Look at some of those plus minuses. DeMar DeRozan, negative 8.4. How about Zach LaVine, negative 11.9? And so we're getting a lot of questions about the ISO ball. And the confusion that I am having when it comes to the ISO ball is Doug Christie basically saying that's not what we want to do, but not doing anything to stop it. The last 3.5 minutes of the last game, it was pick and roll between LaVine and DeRozan. That's all it was. So easy to guard. You do that tonight against Boston, you're done. Not only are they very good sometimes defensively, but also they play team basketball. It doesn't matter who fills it up. And when this Kings team plays team basketball, they can fill it up too. It makes a difference. I was shocked for somebody like Keegan Murray to step to the podium after last game and have him say what he said. And by the way, I am so proud of him for saying what he said, because it is spot on. Listen to what Keegan had to say when he was asked about other teams adjusting in the Kings offense.
Against the Bulls, it was less 3-point attempts. Tonight, it was less shot attempts for Keon, who had it going in the first half. Just what are you noticing from first half adjustments or halftime adjustments from opponents?
I don't know if it's opponents. I think it's us. We had something clicking in the third quarter, a certain set, which is just a side ball screen and a throwback. And then we got away from that. And I think that's kind of where the game ended right there. So we just had to stay consistent and make the game as simple as possible.
Kind of speaking to that, was that the biggest difference you noticed in the fourth quarter, how they were able to kind of create some separation?
Yeah. I think obviously their guys knocked down shots in the fourth, and they were able to get comfortable and were able to figure out how they're going to get their shots each time down the court. So I feel like they adjusted really well in the second half for sure.
And you guys have been kind of accustomed now to Malik in that point guard role.
And it wasn't just Keegan. A lot of us were surprised that Keon Ellis was not on the floor. Remember, he had 19 points at halftime, and he only got 3 shots in the second half. Keon was asked some similar questions. Here's how he responded.
Definitely, I would say I'm comfortable in my role. I mean, I know majority of the time I'm playing off of our stars, so whatever they need me to do, whether it's shoot, drive off the catch, or whatever it is, that's just I know that's what I'm there to do. But a night like tonight, kind of had it going early. So just kind of playing off instinct. So definitely comfortable out there. But I think just taking what the defense gives me, and that just leads to whatever happens for the night.
Keon, it seems it's become a bit of a theme, but late in these games, offense becoming a little bit stagnant. What do you make of that from your perspective?
If that's the case, I think we're just trying to slow it down and just get it to our guys who we know are clutch in those situations. So maybe it's a thing of trying to get it to them too much, too early, maybe. And I think probably could move the ball a little bit more before we try to, I would say just go ISO ball and just try to get it to the guys who we know can make the tough shots and, those timely shots. So I think that might be what it could be. But damn, I'm blanking. I kind of forgot the question.
Keon, you're good, brother. You don't need to answer anything else about that question. You answered it absolutely perfectly. How's that taste, Doug Christie? I mean, that is Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray both saying this is a little too much. Basically, we're going away from what works. It's crazy. It is. And here's the good news about tonight. Here's the good news. Usually when guys are out, the Kings rally and they play basketball in a team style where the ball moves. I expect the ball to move, but you are going to have a ton of minutes. I mean, who's going to pick up the minutes? And if anybody's at the game, I've been trying to get this answer. Please let me know whether or not Mason Jones is dressed tonight. I would really like to know that, because if Mason is dressed tonight, I'd like to see Mason get those Fultz minutes. Fultz has not been playing well. In fact, the Kings, they were beating Milwaukee to the punch in the first half. They were meeting them at the spots. In fact, the Kings were getting to the spots they wanted, and they were pushing Milwaukee back. The second half was a completely different story. I've got the whiteboard up from last post game. Let me clean this up. How rude of me here. Got a dirty whiteboard. Should have taken care of that before. So in the second half, the Kings were starting in areas that you just can't start your offense. And this was Markelle Fultz bringing the ball up on the left side of your screen. So we're looking at this left side picture. Markelle Fultz makes this pass to Zach LaVine right there. So now not only is Zach LaVine 40 some feet away from the basket, in no position to really make a play, but by default, he's got a double team on him. You know why? Because you've got the sideline right there. Zach's got a tight rope to walk, and the only option, let's go to the right side, is Valanciunas coming all the way out to set a pick, way out there. That is way too far out. Way too far out. So now you've got a defender here, you've got the sideline defender, and you've got LaVine going this way with really your only pass to Fultz here, or you had down here Jake LaRavia in the corner, which would have been nearly an impossible pass to make. So it's the little stuff like that that is not just, no, that's Ryno's whiteboard. That ain't Kenny's pictures or whatever they call it. It's Ryno's whiteboard. You basically have to be able to start your offense in a reasonable spot. And that is one thing that you do have to look at. So here's Dennis with our starting lineups. Kings will start Ellis, LaVine, DeRozan, Murray, and Sabonis. No surprises there. All right, let's look at what Boston does, what Boston doesn't do very well. What we do know is Boston does not like to play at a high rate of pace. 29th in the NBA. The Kings have played their best basketball as of late when they play at a higher pace. So I would expect a lot of that tonight. If the Kings go ISO ball, the Kings are going to be in for a long night like we have already talked about. Now, as for what they do well, what they don't do well, 3-point attempts, number one in the NBA. Kings are 30th defending the 3-point line. Much like the first half against Milwaukee, it becomes a question of, can the Kings run the Celtics off the 3-point line? The Kings did that in the first half against Milwaukee. They did a good job of that. Could they do that again? Part of that is what they also did in Boston. We talked about that earlier. Other things, not so good. They're not great from the mid-range. Look at that. 30th in 2-pointers made, 30th in 2-point attempts in the NBA. As for the rebounds and assists, they don't like to move the ball a lot. They will do some more ISO ball. Turnovers, they don't turn the ball over a ton. So that's where the Kings need to pick up the pressure and not be afraid. But conversely, look, 26, they don't cause a lot of turnovers either. So the Kings need to be smart with the basketball. Rebounding is always going to be a big deal in a game like this. 15th on the offensive boards and 10th on the defensive boards. Kings, can they get second opportunities? And then obviously it's difficult to negotiate, but the long rebounds that occur when you shoot a lot of threes, are the Kings going to be able to corral some of those, get to the 50-50 balls, hit first, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that Doug Christie says, because the Kings came out and they did that in the first half against Milwaukee. They were the more physical team, and then they retreated in that third quarter. So back to all of you in the chat. Let's see if you got some more questions. We've got some more audio. We'll play some Doug Christie as I go through your chat, finishing up his press conference from earlier tonight.
Trying to fight before it. What do you think that was a factor for him, and then just the urgency trying to get back out the team?
I mean, in my opinion, Domas is one of the players that if it ain't broke, he gonna try, and that's big time. There are parts of an injury, like when you are injured or you're hurt. Those are two totally different. For him to, and our staff, our training staff, just like big shout out to them, because you're talking like 24-hour cycles trying to do everything that you can to take care of our guys. And that's a big commitment from them as well. And then our guys trying to do everything that they can do to get back on the floor. So just all the way around, like lots of stories, but rarely do you hear those ones about what we do here. And
well, I mean, a lot of training staffs are top notch in the NBA, but yes, credit to the training staff and credit to the players for putting in the time. That's the stuff that separates your role players from your starters, from your all-stars. It is putting in that time into your body. Look at a guy like Harrison Barnes. Great guy to be an example. Could I imagine this city if the Kings won a championship? One thing I will say that I can imagine that nobody would be lighting cop cars on fire. Nobody would be climbing grease-filled light poles. I think Kings fans would be a little bit more responsible, but I could be wrong. Yet we are a little bit away from that. Let's see. Ryno, why not Mason can shoot the rock? Fans, here's the thing. It's not so much about Mason shooting. It's the pace that Mason can play with. One of the great things about the Stockton program and the Sacramento program is they don't just roll the ball out in Stockton for the two-way guys and say, go score 50 points, do whatever you want. They are simulating a lot of the same situations that those guys would possibly get if they were up here on the main roster. And one thing that Stockton does way better than Sacramento is the pace. Mason, make, miss, turnover, steal. Mason, Terry, or TT, who's still on a 10-day contract, John Elmore, all those guys, they are up the court. Like, go watch a Stockton game. You will be shocked at the pace. Every time I go down there, I talked to Gabriel Harris about it, who's their GM. I'm just like, this pace. Like, how do you guys consistently do it? And Quentin Crawford's done a great job of ingraining that in them. So from a pace standpoint, Mason has had enough minutes now in the NBA. He's not going to come in and score 30 points, but he can effectively get the Kings into the offense. I think he could get them more effectively into the offense than Markelle Fultz, and he's in much better shape to do it. So that's why I was wondering if Mason is dressed tonight. And I love Mace. Mace's energy is infectious. I covered him really close last year. I usually pick one player each year that I really want to focus on. Last year, it was Mason. The year before that, obviously, it was Keon and Kessler. And then this year, it's been Terry Taylor, TT, who is on a 10-day contract right now with the Kings. Well, it doesn't matter whether he deserves them or not. He owns them. That's the way it is. We're still getting Fox talk. I need Levine benched for at least one game. His effort, I don't know what's going on. I know he missed a game for personal reasons, but there's two areas that are bugging me. He is really, really dogging it when it comes to catching the ball on the wing or going out. In fact, there was a big turnover in the fourth quarter where the telecast said he blew a tire and that's why he turned it over. No, he was just nonchalantly going for the ball and realized, I mishandled it. And then he tried to kick it in gear and the shoe went flying. So it's the little things like that. And then also remind me, isn't Zach LaVine a slam dunk winner, slam dunk competition winner? Why so many layups? Dunk the ball. Go dunk the ball. Maybe a little too cute around the rim. So you can't sit him now. But here's the thing. Don't ask Zach LaVine to make plays. Just ask Zach LaVine to score. Because too many times there's been the turnovers. The pick and roll is a mess with him. It's either perfect or it's awful. Just let him score. Put him in position to score. I think the Kings have really thrown him off with having him play some point guard responsibilities. And it's been the fatal flaw of this roster, not having a true point guard on it. So, all right, time for some final scores. Y'all got some final scores for me? Kobe White. Yeah. Is he on another one? See? Yeah, that's what happens when Keegan held him to 4 points in the first half of that game. 4 points in the first half. So, one of my keys goes for every single game. The Kings cannot win a basketball game unless they have 28 or more assists. So they're going to need that. The Kings are going to have to be able to shoot the leather off the basketball from beyond the arc tonight as well. Turnovers low, goes without saying. And you're going to need a big game from you're going to need big games from Keon and Keegan Murray. Period. End of story. If you don't get them going, then you don't stand much of a chance tonight, in my opinion. So what's your final score? Celts 128, 11. C's 132, 119. See, if the C's are going to blow them out, I don't think the Kings are going to be that far over 100. I would be surprised. I'm kind of closer to Cristobal. I actually think, I do believe this game's going to be closer than what some of you are putting. By the way, the line moved to -5.5 now since Jaylen Brown is playing. If you're just joining us, no Devin Carter, no Malik Monk, but Domantas Sabonis is making his return to the lineup. I will be sick to my stomach if he re-aggravates something tonight. No way to blame it on coming back too early or anything like that, but to come back on night one of a brutal back-to-back, I would have probably at least held him off for Oklahoma City. OKC is a Western Conference game, too. Oh, well. Edward, 129, 111. Kings start a 4-game winning streak tonight. Well, Boston's won 9 of 10 coming into this one. So we will see. That'd be nice. Look, I'm the guy that said it. The Kings should be 4-0 right now on this homestand. I stand by that. The Kings should be 4-0 on this homestand. They beat themselves twice. beat themselves twice. So who's to say they can't have a competitive game? Again, the Kings, for a team that's inconsistent, they consistently play well when guys are missing. They rally around each other. I can respect that. But yeah, Keegan's ceiling is a better defensive Harrison Barnes and less talented offensively. I disagree, Mars. How do we know? When has Keegan Murray ever been featured? When? He hasn't. Summer League? California Classic? Man, see, and this is where we get into the tricky conversations that we had earlier today. Cristobal, 103, 126. My pleasure, Frog. Thank you very much for being here. By the way, win or lose, we are back after the game. Grant and I will be doing the post-game show for you, taking your calls. Halftime, Jerry Reynolds joins us. Maybe he'll have some thoughts on the Bibinator going to Sac State, but we will get his thoughts on the first half. Also give you our score predictions, and do not put anything into them right now. We are 0-9 in the last 3 games combined. We look to get that right tonight. One thing that is always right and never wrong, it's Bennett's. Make sure you go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out all 3 of their locations: Roseville, Rockland, Howe, Fair Oaks. Prime cuts of seafood and steak, happy hour 2 to 6 every single day. Great specials too throughout the week and the weekend. Weekend brunch at all 3 locations, 11 to 2 p.m. Not too early to start making your Mother's Day reservations. You do not want to be left without a reservation on Mother's Day. That's a bad place to be. Bad place to be. Like a worse place to be than playing the Celtics without your full roster. So get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, make a reservation. Also, you can put in to-go orders and check out their full menu and specials, which we love here on the channel. So big thanks to Brian and the team at Bennett's for sponsoring tonight's pregame show. All right, that's it. We out. Go enjoy the first half. Jerry Reynolds with us after the first 24 minutes. Kings looking to get back on track tonight. The return of Domas. That's right. Domantas Sabonis, Sabaka, whatever you want to call him, returns to the lineup. And first night of a back-to-back against Oklahoma City. Got to focus on this one. So thanks for being here. Appreciate all of you. Can't wait to see you at the half with Mr. Jerry Reynolds. So long.